Right, okay, we've arrived at Travelodge. Well, we actually arrived last night. We're at the Travelodge at Birmingham Airport. We've just had our breakfast. And it is a glorious day, as you can see. So we're just about to head. It's about 20 past 10. I think the thing starts at half past 10. So we're going to be leaving in 2 minutes. So we'll see you in there. Right, we're all ready to go to Insomnia. Ava's in the middle, dressed as Persona 5. You ready to rock, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, let's do it. As you can see, it was an absolutely glorious day. The warmest weekend, I believe, this year. And what do? We go inside and play video games. Perfect. The NEC in Birmingham is a massive, massive place. I think there was also, was it Bear Grylls Experience or something that was on at the same time, plus a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, as you can see, it was mega busy. This was obviously the Saturday. Now I think it started on the Friday and it was going to be on the Sunday and also today, which is the Monday. Now oddly, don't understand why they do that. I mean, you go, there's people that actually camp for 4 days. They spend the whole 4 days and you can camp. They've got different entrances for different people. Why? Surely if you've got a ticket, then you know you could all just get into one place. But anyway, enough of my grumbles. So this is just arriving. The sort of cosplay bit was on the right hand side. Not quite sure what that person's supposed to be. There was a girl dressed up as what looked like an orc out of, I can only assume, was a World of Warcraft. There she's there. She actually looked pretty realistic. We arrived at, well, it was 10:30 and it was fairly, I wouldn't say it was quiet, but it wasn't mad busy. In fact, I've got to say, I don't think at any point did I feel like it was there was too many people there. You know, there was always plenty of space. Though, as you would expect, when it comes to, you know, playing games, etc., there's always queues. These are some, I'm assuming these are costumes for sale or something. I've got absolutely no idea what characters these are from. Some bizarre looking things. You never realise. Oh, there's the dude out of Five Nights at Freddy's. There's actually a VR version of that coming for the PlayStation. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. That wee guy's getting filmed against a blue screen. I don't know. He looked particularly uncomfortable, I have to say. Or awkward, I think is the right word. On the left hand side we've got people playing board games. One of my mates, Mark, him and his wife, they're right into board games. It's not something I've ever actually done before. I've never ever played like Dungeons and Dragons, anything like that at all. But as with all these things, there's every single, you know, there's people from all ages, from little kids to, you know, old people like myself. I don't think it's really the type of place for a really young kid, because there's not really that much to do. Actually, when you look at it, it's only when I was coming back, I go out the road it's only when I was coming back up the road I was thinking about it, and it's almost just like you're paying to be able to look at people's stuff for sale. You know, there's very, very little games to actually do. It's all stalls and obviously people showing off their new games, etc. But they must make an absolute fortune. We didn't go into the other sections. There's a big stage where I think there was like YouTubers or whatever, but I don't know any of these people, so I didn't see any point going along. And here's some overpriced tat, as always. You know, it's amazing now with the number of TV programmes that you've got nowadays. I mean, that thing there, that Glen, that was like 44 quid, I think it was. It's just like I've got to say, that Negan doll was actually pretty smart. It did look quite realistic. But there's so much stuff for collecting. You know, the people who are obsessed with collecting, I mean, they must have bottomless pockets. I think that was one of these Japanese food stalls on the left hand side, I think. In front of you there, Razer, they make mega expensive PC stuff. I mean, I was looking at some of the PCs for sale, some of the gaming PCs, and they're like 10 grand. You're like, really? I mean, some of the keyboards are just like £300-400. I just couldn't. I couldn't even contemplate spending that amount of money on something. There's a lot of people queuing up to speak to other people, and like I said, I didn't know any of these people. I had no idea who these people were. We decided when we got in that my daughter and her pal would do their own thing, because it's not really the kind of place you can really walk about as a group. You want to be able to do your own thing. I've got to say, if I had the money, I'd love a big screen like that. I don't know what size that was. It must have been about, I don't know, 200 inches, something like that. You can see there, it's not that busy at this point. Whoops, sorry mate. That was Super Smash Brothers on the Switch. The Switch had a massive presence, as you would expect. They say that the Switch is probably really turning into one of the best consoles. I mean, I was a bit sceptical when they first announced what they're going to be doing. I thought, well, a handheld, really? You know, we've been playing handhelds for years, but I say that at least for once, Nintendo have actually put quite a powerful bit of hardware into their machine, you know, whereas before, like when the Wii came out, the Wii was wholly underpowered compared to what had gone out before. I mean, the Wii came out after quite a few years after the Xbox 360, and yet it was a lot less underpowered. And I think that was a big problem with the Wii. Some of the games just didn't have the oomph or the grunt to really run games that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 could run. But at least with the Switch, they've kind of readdressed that. I don't think the Switch is as powerful as the PS4 or Xbox One, but it still does produce some fantastic looking games. Now, Nintendo, as always, are ridiculously strict about not filming whatever, but I wasn't caring. There's a Pikachu movie apparently, or a Pikachu, I've been told that's how you pronounce it. There's some Pokemon game, nice here. And that's a new Yoshi game. I can't remember what that was called. I can't read it. There was various versions of that. Was it Yoshi's Epic Yarn? And then there was it Woolly Yoshi something, I think it was, on the Wii? Or was it the Wii U? I think it was actually, yeah. This was the Indie Zone. Some quite nice games actually. One thing I tend to find that it's not the first time that I've been to one of these events looking at indie games, and you never actually seem to see it afterwards. Maybe the games, because they're indie, they're not massively advertised, and they've kind of gone under the radar. Possibly they're available on Steam, not too sure. Kind of like one of these little games you get in a Christmas cracker where you've got to try and get a marble all the way to the centre. This one was quite interesting. It was basically like a revamp of Streets of Rage, or Final Fight, whatever you want to call it. we did have a little shot. Of course, it's one of these ones where it's the classic sort of retro look, expanded sprites. Now the guy was trying to explain to me what each button did, and I was trying to pretend I was actually listening. I'm not a massive fan of these types of games. I don't know, I just find they kind of lack any real skill. You're just kind of button mashing. I dare say there's plenty of people who are actually quite skillful in these games, but in the case of this, it was, you know, similar to Streets of Rage. Two buttons did a sort of flying kick, then you go punch. In fact, was there a kick button? I don't think there was. Maybe there was. Anyway, let's play it. I think the guy said you could have up to, was it 8 players? Which would be quite novel. Although, as I found out later on, you can actually accidentally kill your partner, which is never a good thing to do. Explain to Lee that you need to press the two buttons, was it X and A I think it was, for a flying kick. That seemed to be the most effective way of killing the guys. And that's end of the level. And we'll give it another go. We go to Murphy's, which was the Irish bar. Funnily enough. Also pick up stuff. I picked up a snooker cue and managed to whack Lee with it accidentally, much to the amusement of everybody. Later on, when you start doing flying kicks, the guys would duck. So the AI was kind of getting better the further on you got in the game. sometimes when I play a wee shorty indie games, after a couple of minutes you're like, I'm not enjoying this, but I'm always too polite to just kind of stand up and walk away. There's a game I play later on which I wasn't a fan of at all, which I'll explain later on, but like again, I didn't want to be rude, so I just said, yeah, great game mate, and kind of made my excuses and left. I mean, it's a nice enough game, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table. It doesn't introduce any new features over what's already out there. So would I buy this particular game? Unless it was maybe a fiver, probably not, because we've all seen this game before. But nice, always nice to kind of support these guys. So this is the Retro Zone, as they called it. There was quite a few arcade cabinets for sale, and they were absolutely ludicrously expensive. They were like starting at like £900, going up to like £4,000. Yeah, they were nicely put together, but you know, the guy came across, "Oh, you interested?" I says, "No, I built one myself, mate." Now this was me playing, what was I playing? Tekken on the original PlayStation, or the PlayStation Mini. This one, not the PlayStation Mini, what was this called? This was like the sort of second incarnation of the PlayStation. Obviously being a CRT TV, you've got the refresh rate is different from my GoPro camera, so you get the wavy lines. Got to say, when I was playing this, it was just ludicrously slow. I couldn't actually remember this game playing so slowly. I was actually having more fun playing the Galaga bit at the very start. I always remember being really excited when I first got Ridge Racer, getting to play Galaxian. You know, it was the first time I'd played Galaxian outside the arcade, albeit it was only a very, very short little intro bit. Here's the intro to Tekken. I always remember just having my socks absolutely blown off with this, thinking it was amazing. But you know, given we'd gone from like 16-bit computers to this, it was incredible looking. Seemed to kind of play like slow motion, but of course that was the PAL conversion for you. She wanted a shot and she politely declined. That was enough of that. But yeah, there was quite a few old systems, but again, I never really made any point in playing them because when you've got them all in the house, why would you want to play them? There's a little sort of cocktail cabinet thing, quite nice. Well put together, but well overpriced as well. You can see there's a lot of different machines. And a few pin table as well. I saw the AC/DC one, that was the one that kind of piqued my interest. This guy on the left, him there, the black t-shirt, he kind of hogged a lot of machines. There was a Donkey Kong machine later on which we're all queuing up for, and he just kept playing constantly. I think segment because, you know, when there's people queuing, you maybe have 2 games tops. I'm not particularly good at pinball, as I will happily demonstrate. That little stamp on the right hand, that's the little ink thing that's put on you so you can leave the venue if you want and then come back. Pathetic attempt to try and get the ball up the table. Good, I like the soundtrack in this, it's pretty good. And I've lost the ball again. Let's see if we can do any better. I think there is a version of this for, is it a Pinball Arcade, I think it is. Let me have a look and see if I can get it, because it would be pretty cool to be able to play it in your PC. Obviously it's not going to be a patch in the playing on a proper table, but it's the next best thing and it's a damn sight cheaper as well. Interesting that pin tables have not really evolved any. It's still, every table you look at still just got the 2 flippers at the bottom. Walking Dead cab, not cab, Walking Dead pin table on the left. But there was always people around them, there was always big queues for them, so this was the only one I actually got to play. certainly the game that I played the most pinball wise was Dave's Midnight Magic on the Commodore 64. Loved that game. When you look at it now, it's so basic looking. I think it was, no, in fact no, it wasn't, I was going to say I think it was on Infinite Balls, but I don't think it was actually. Game over. This was one of the selection, one of the vendors selling tons and tons of games. And I was looking at the back there, I was looking to see if it maybe had a NES Mini, but there's a SNES one for 80 quid. I always find these stalls, they're always slightly overpriced. Always get stuff cheaper. I know people say, well, you get to see the games you're buying and you know, you're not paying postage or anything, which is fair enough. This was one of Lee's favourite games. This is Space Invaders one of the little handheld, not handheld, TV plugins, and I've actually got this very one. It was quite surprising for such a sort of simple game. There was always people wanting to play it. I mean, there was a wee guy standing behind us waiting to get on. I'm trying to teach Lee the laws of Space Invaders. Always make sure you take them from the side. What's interesting, I just noticed, you'll see the TV on the right with that wee guy just standing up from. You've got the flicker, yet the TV that the Space Invaders is running on, there's no flicker. I wonder why that is. Is that a different type of TV? I think that was a CRT TV as well. I'm not sure why there's flicker going on, yet not on that one. I've got no idea. And this was me eventually getting a shot of Donkey Kong. I don't know why I queue up to play these games because I can play them at home. And this was the stuff. I'm convinced this was a main cab. I don't think this was a PCB board at all. Joystick was a bit kind of tight as well. And as always, when you're actually playing these things in front of somebody or in front of a camera, you're absolutely garbage. Excuses with the joystick again. On the left hand side there's a TV that said it was, if you had one of the highest scores of the day you're going to get a prize, but they didn't update it at all. I mean, the scores that were on that there were the same scores that were on later on, even though I beat, I think I would have been in second place at that point. Obviously if they put Berserk on, I would have owned it. Don't know if any of you guys have been to Insomnia. I mean, this is the fourth time I've been, I think. Now, I'll be honest, the reason I go is because my daughter enjoys it. It's always a good little weekend for her and I to spend some time together. If she didn't want to go, I certainly wouldn't want to go. I mean, it's not really my... I'm not big on sort of modern games, so it's not really something that I get a lot out of. I mean, it's an expensive weekend for sure. You've got the travel, you've got the hotel, the price of food in these places is just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, all in, we've had a good weekend, but it's not something that I'd probably go again, unless of course Eva particularly wanted to. I like this game, I can't remember what it was called. But basically you play, it's quite interesting, you can actually both play using one controller. Player 1 uses a left analog stick and player 2 uses the right analog stick, and then you both use a shoulder button to bark. And the idea is to basically, you've got sheep and there's all sorts of like iron bars and explosives and big, ton weights falling from the sky, and you've basically got to try and keep the sheep safe. Actually quite an interesting little game. I was talking to the guy that wrote it, and I said that to him. I said some of the best games are games that have got simple mechanics, and this was really original. And this one, nice graphics, but the thing that to me really spoiled it was the inertia on your spaceship was just ridiculous. It was so slow moving that it was almost impossible to avoid bullets, because there was a good couple of seconds delay between you moving the joystick and the actual ship moving. So, unless you improve that, I don't know why they would have that. I mean, a shoot 'em up is all about twitch, it's all about quick reactions, and when it moves as slow as this one was, it just completely ruins the game for me, because it was a nice looking game. And you can see there the sort of the momentum. Even when you move, it still keeps kind of moving. So that completely killed the game for me, which is a shame, because I mean graphically it's really nice, and you always like to see independence guys, getting success when they write new games, but they need to change the inertia and the spaceship for sure. This was a game that I was I couldn't really bother playing it any longer, but I didn't want to kind of get up and walk away, because that would just be extremely rude, I think. I would always say to people who are making games like this, if they're going to make them available for play, put better joysticks out there, even put little shitty SNES pads. Doesn't really cut it. I hate playing shoot 'em ups with SNES pads, but this was Ava and her friend playing Splatoon 2. When we were queuing up, Ava was watching the other kids playing, and she said that she was going to kick their butt, and she did. I think she got the highest score. Although, as you'll probably see, they don't actually win, but it gives you a score for individuals. I think she had the most kills. This is a game that I've watched Ava play, and I've watched it getting played quite a lot, and it does look an amazingly fun game, but I just never actually make the effort to play it myself. Don't know why. I think because it's online. I can't be bothered playing games online. I don't know why that is. It's a beautiful, beautiful game, it really is. Yeah, so just to kind of recap, this was Insomnia 64. It was on this was the 20th of April. It's, if you're into modern video games, modern PCs, then probably you would quite enjoy it. There is a small section for retro games and that kind of stuff, but for somebody like myself who's not really got any interest in modern machines, I don't think I get an awful lot out of it. I mean, it's still fun to go down. Like I say, if it wasn't for my daughter wanting to go to it, I probably wouldn't go back. I mean, it's £26 I think it was for a ticket, which to me seems a lot of money considering it's almost just like being in a supermarket. You're just looking at people's games for sale, and yet you're having to pay a lot of money. again, I suppose if you're into YouTubers and you've got your favourite YouTuber you want to see, then that's fine. I mean, the thing is, the guys that appear in these things, they're all under sort of 4 or 5 million subscribers, so they're well known amongst kids. I didn't know any of them at all, apart from there's one girl that was going to be there on the Sunday, and my daughter had been to see her before. I mean, if you're nearby, then I guess, yeah, pop along, but for somebody like myself, travelling from Scotland down to Birmingham, it was a 600-mile round trip. So you factor in this, you factor in the petrol, you factor in the hotel, you factor in the overpriced food as well. It's not a cheap weekend at all. But we still enjoyed it, you know, we had great weather. Not that we're getting to experience it being stuck in one of these, being stuck inside. So that's the end of it there. That was Splatoon 2. And this was kind of the food court part of it. So anyway guys, listen, yeah, if modern video games is your bag, then you should maybe go along and check it out. And as always guys, I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and as always, thank you very much for watching.